Mr. Chairman, obviously, as you're fully aware, out there at the moment we get many questions asked by the fans on a regular basis, and I think it'd be really good if we could get your opinions now, coming towards the end of another season, our third here, and just wondered if we could go through some of the questions that have been asked on a regular basis and give us your opinions. So straight in with number one. In terms of progress and the initial plan, are you happy with the way that things are going? And now we're approaching the end of the season, what are your current thoughts?
Progress so far, I think the club has made a lot of progress in the last 3 years, or coming up to 3 years that we've been involved in the club. I'm delighted that we managed to get out of League Two. That was a big plus. I think a lot of clubs that are in League Two, a lot of big clubs that are in League Two, struggle to get out of there as well. And it's a very difficult division to get in. And we had to speculate a little bit in any sort of business to try and get us out of League Two, to get us into to get the promotion, because we knew it was going to be a very northern division, League One, and it was going to be a benefit to the club to get that promotion, and that was something I was delighted with. But the remit that I gave to the manager at the start of the season was to get League One safety, and thankfully so far we've going to achieve that, I believe, and certainly with having 49 points on the board at the moment gives us the opportunity to be in League One for next season, and that's the remit we set out from day one.
One of the things that we actually discussed at the beginning of the season was, with this league being more of a local league to the north, we was hoping that the attendances would be a lot higher. Obviously, what are your thoughts on the current attendance levels?
Honestly, I think the away support, we predicted what it was going to be, and we was more or less bang on right with that. We thought across the board there'd be around about 1,000 as an average away attendance, and I think from the stats that I've seen it's about 990. From the home support, I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed with that. In League Two, I think the average home support we was achieving was about 3,200, and this year we envisaged that because of getting promotion into a League One, more local derbies, we'd actually get that home support increasing by another 600 to 700 at least on the gate, which would have been a real improvement to us financially as a business. Now we've actually, from the latest stats I've seen, we're actually lower than it was in League Two. So the average home support we're getting is about just over 3,000, just under 3,100 at the moment.
I know that some of the performances we've had, obviously, I sit next to you at every game, so I know how frustrating it is, and certainly how passionate you are. And I get black and blue, from you're probably kicking out every ball going, but some of the away performances haven't been the best. Do you think that that's had a big effect on some of the home, the home attendances? Potentially, but I'd also go back onto that. I think we're the fifth best home record in the league at the moment as well. So our home performances have been fantastic this season, and to be fifth in the table at the moment on our home record shows what the performances have been like. The last 10 away performances haven't been anything like what we expect as a football club, and everybody at the football club knows that. Certainly the defeat at Coventry was a very difficult one to take, to sit through that performance and stay to the end and congratulate the Coventry board and chairman on the win was very difficult for me. To lose in the manner that we were lost at Rochdale wasn't acceptable for us as a club, and we knew that as well, and that was something that we had to learn and improve upon. But as I said before, the remit was to stay in League One, and the remit at the start of the season to the manager was to say we want League One survival. We had a fantastic start to the season, and I think the expectations of all of the fans and everybody was thinking, right, we're going to go back-to-back promotions potentially, and we knew that as a board, we knew that was going to be very, very difficult to achieve with the way that the club is. It was our first season back into League One. It was going to be really difficult to do that, but we've got to improve our away performances. But if we were having fantastic home and fantastic away performances, then we would be top of the league, and that's why we're 15th in the league tables, because our away form hasn't been as good. But it's a bit of a contrary, because last season our away form was outstanding, and we went and set a club record with, I think it was 17 or 18 away games without defeat.
we managed to achieve that, and the away fans, it was fantastic when we travelled away, knowing that you probably wasn't going to get beaten. It's very, very difficult at the moment. We've got to put it right, but the remit is to sit down with the coaching staff and the manager and put it right. And that was the main focus for me, is to try and say, right, okay, we're achieving what we're going to set out to our targets to achieve, but how can we improve? And that's certainly what we're going to do for next season.
We're sitting down with the gaffer and the rest of the backroom staff. I know that that's in the plans to happen soon for next season, but with the changes in the rules and the loan players and the emergency loan players next season, how's the squad going to look next year? With the injuries and everything we've had, does it need to be a bigger squad, or what's your thoughts on the squad next year?
That's something that we'll talk about with the manager when we meet him and talk that through. I think obviously there's not going to be emergency loan window that's stopped from next season, but the loan window will still be available from window to window. It gives us the opportunity to look at the squad and maybe bring a couple of season-long loans in from the start of the season, and look at the squad and try and keep it as efficient as we possibly can keep it. There's the FFP and SCMP as it is now dictates to a football club what you can have as a player's budget, and it's all calculated on the basis of the turnover of the business. So it's difficult for us. We've had players that we've signed this season who haven't made a difference. We've had players that have been out injured, and that's been difficult. And there'll be a real structure and a sit down with the manager to plan for next season and to try and keep the squad next season as competitive but as efficient as we possibly can.
Obviously, some of the fans, get on the gaffer's back and things about the performances, which we've addressed. But also, there's a lot of positivity about with the youth, for example, and obviously with the Matty Falls deal and others. Do you think that the youth's obviously a big plus for next season?
Yeah, I do. One of the remits that we was to go to Carrington, was to start developing the academy and the youth team. That was a key factor for us. It wasn't just about the first team. Although it has an impact in being able to recruit players for the first team, it has a big impact in being able to recruit players for the academy as well. And what we've been able to do there is, this year we've been able to do a day release programme. So some of the players from under 13 levels and above, we've been able to bring them out of education 1 day a week and spend time with the coaching staff and developing them more and more, which is going to improve year on year for the scholars to come in, which we're looking at doing an in-house programme for the scholars as well, so we can actually get more quality coaching time with them and develop them. I was looking at the stats before, it's difficult because this football club hasn't really developed a lot of players through its academy system and being able to sell them on. And part of the business plan and business model, that is one of the areas that this football club needs to do, and we've been able to do that with Matty Falls this season. He didn't come through the academy as such. We identified Matty from being released from another club, and thankfully he's gone on to sign for a Premier League club now. We've got another 2 or 3 players that have all got Premier League interest at the moment. We've had bids in from 2 or 3 Premier League clubs currently, one's for a 15-year-old and one's for a 16-year-old. But the timing's got to be right for us, and it's also got to be right for the player. It's also got to be right for the club. So that's the key thing, is that the business that we'll do will be on Bury Football Club's terms. It's not on the terms of the other clubs that are trying to pinch these players. And I think the reputation that Bury's getting now in the footballing world is that we are producing good quality players. We have seen an influx of scouts coming to academy games, and they're now looking at thinking, well, we're not just going to pinch these players from Bury Football Club. We're looking at trying to say, and the bids that we've had for 2 of these players have been far in excess of 6 figures. So it's something there where we are working on that. We're trying to develop it. You've seen the manager this season has been able to put 1 or 2 of the players into the first team squad. People like George Miller, Scott Burgess, who've come along there. Jack Ruddy played a game at Gillingham. But Jack, he played the game at Gillingham, and I've seen some comments about the goalkeeping situation. Why don't we not just give Jack a chance? Jack he's 17 years old. He's a first-year pro with us. He's still actually a second-year scholar. It's very difficult for Jack and for us to put that pressure onto Jack right now. And yes, he has had interest from Premier League clubs as well, but he's not ready to go yet. He's not ready to develop to that point, and Jack needs to be able to work with us, but he's also not ready for the first team yet. So we've got to win games. That is the paramount of the first team, is to win as many games as we can. So we'll develop it, and we'll develop it at the right time. But that's something that we do a lot of work for next season.
Obviously, you know, I'm fully aware of out there is a certain element of the fan base, and I must stress it's a very small element, but obviously they like to be more vocal than many. And obviously this recent thing only last week about being in an embargo and one thing and another, but then we go and sign 3 players in the same day. So obviously, you know, we couldn't have been in an embargo. What are your thoughts about comments like that obviously must be frustrating, and obviously, you know, does allow some of the fans to have a voice and maybe to be, you know, disturbance to the other fans?
I think the key thing there is that it is a small minority. I'm very thankful to the supporters, you know, the ones that come and support us home and away. You know, I love going to watch us play, and game days are special days for me. They really are special days for me, and I want us to win every game, and it hurts me when we lose games, as you've seen firsthand.
Oh yeah, I can vouch for that one.
I think though, I saw, you know, I got the feedbacks from some people that we were going into this transfer embargo on Friday, and I don't know where it comes from. You know, I don't know where it comes from, because it's quite bizarre really. We end up signing 3 players that Friday afternoon. You know, you can't sign players if you're in transfer embargo, and we signed the 3 players. We brought them into the football club because we felt we needed a little bit more just in that final thing to get us over the line and get over that 50-point barrier. And we've got a few injuries at the moment in key positions, so we've played players out of position, and they've done a very good job of the players in trying to in them positions that they've been asked to go do. But we needed to bring players in and, you know, bolster the squad a little bit, which we went and did. And it is very, very frustrating for myself, because there seems to be a little bit of a negativity surrounding the club on certain points at the moment, and saying that we're going into, and people are looking for the negatives rather than looking at the positives. And I'm a very positive person, and I look at what we're trying to do and look at what we're achieving here, and to compete in League One. You know, we've done the double over Sheffield United this season, we've done the double over Peterborough this season, and we've won a lot of games where I've been really, really proud of the football club. And some of the football we've played in games has been fantastic. And even the game against Shrewsbury on Saturday, you know, the first half performance wasn't anything like what we needed, but the second half performance, I don't think any supporter that came to the game would have been disappointed with that second half performance, and we were outstanding and deserved to win the game.
Yeah, and one of the things, obviously, we haven't, you know, we've discussed some of the lower attendances and one thing and another, but on a positive side, you know, the FA Cup, you know, the run that we had there, is, you know, many of the fans would have probably accepted at the beginning of the season to finish mid-table, guaranteed first, you know, League One football, and an FA Cup run like that would have been an amazing success.
Yeah, we did the Christmas lunch, yeah. And at the Christmas lunch I did a poll in the room of, I think we were 11th or 12th at the time in the table, and we were in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, and I did a vote in the room and saying who would be happy if we finished mid-table this year and had a cup run, and everybody in the room put their hands in the air. So nothing really much has changed from that position, because the cup run, we had a difficult tie obviously at Bradford City, going down to 10 men. This was when we wasn't playing well away from home, so going down to 10 men after 40 minutes was going to be a difficult ask of the players and the coaching staff to try and go through that against a good Bradford side. And we fought. We showed some real character and desire and fought, and the players worked for each other, and it was fantastic. And to go through on penalties, and Danny Pugh nearly scored a worldie in that game.
That would have been the goal of the season, that one. Yeah.
But to go through on penalties in the manner that we went through, and then to draw Hull City, who, you know, have got a real chance of getting the Premier League this season, to draw them at home and have that shows to me, you know, it was a fantastic cup run. And I think we haven't been in the 4th round of the FA Cup at home for 30 odd years. So it just shows to me how much the club is progressing, and it's continuing to progress. And to get in the 4th round of the FA Cup and be mid-table, if you'd have given me at the start of the season, I'd have probably snapped your hand off with that. I think going back onto it, I think we had a really good start at the start of the season as well, and people have got maybe a bit carried away with that start and thought, well, we're going to be up there, we're going to be competing for a playoff place, and, you know, we're still finding our feet in this league. we're still trying to compete in this league, and we've had fantastic away performances. And I think the one for me away from home this season would be the Sheffield United win. To go to Bramall Lane, I was told we hadn't won there since 1925. To go beat them 3-1 in front of 21,000 people, and for the directors of Sheffield United now still say that we was the best side that they've played in the league at that day, just shows.
To be fair, sorry to cut in on there, I'll never forget Barry Fry at Peterborough, that performance there. He said that we were the best visiting team there he'd had for a couple of years. So the squad's got it in them, and it must be as frustrating for you as it is for the fans.
It is, and it's frustrating for me. It's frustrating for the manager. We've brought players into the football club that we think are right. We don't get every decision right. If every businessman that you've got says they make every decision right, then they're lying, because they don't. They make mistakes, but it's how we learn from them mistakes. It's how we try and improve things, and how we progress, and that's something that I keep on talking about. We're trying to progress. We're trying to get better. I'm still a youngish chairman. The manager's still a youngish manager. We want to be in the position of being able to compete and move forward. We've got a plan that we're trying to work to, and the plan involves the business model as well, not just the footballing side of it. But it is frustrating because we have put some incredible performances in, and that 45 minutes at Peterborough, I've never seen a team pass a ball like they did in that game, and it was fantastic to watch, and that's something that I want us to deliver on. But players are also people as well, and there's times when we all go to work and we don't feel 100%, and we don't feel that we we can't give 100% all of the time, and sometimes things affect the players away from the football side of it. It could be nothing to do, it could be off the field, and it's very difficult, and we've got to try and make sure we get the best out of the players, and that's something where when we're recruiting going forward, we've got to make sure that we can bring players into this football club that play the brand that we want to try and evolve here.
Off the pitch, obviously, I think it's fair to say that the question that I get asked more than any others is on the finances. The difficulty about being a football club is the fact that there's a negative element that obviously, like we've touched on before, only want to highlight the negative situations. And obviously it's public knowledge that we've had a winding up order, and it's also public knowledge that some of the debts have gone to county courts and one thing and another. Do you understand the fans' concerns on that? Do you what is it you think on that basis?
I think the winding up order was a frustration. It was well documented in the press, that it was a very quick process of going for a petition. It was a very quick process of going to court, and the bill was paid very, very quickly. It was over the holiday period. We'd actually lost a fixture through a postponement due to the weather. I don't think the revenue wanted to take that into consideration from that, and when you lose that amount of money that comes through from that potential Boxing Day fixture, which it would have been great, it's difficult. I mean, we put the money in, we paid the bill very quickly, and like I said, it was over the holiday period when the club was shut. So it's frustrating, and I think from my position, we've had CCJs, as you know about, because we've gone to court to fight people. We don't lie down. We had a mentality when we came into this football club that Bury Football Club would just roll over and accept it, and they kind of be the ones, well, let the bigger boys or let other companies try and bully you. And it wasn't the case with that. We've tried to go back and fight that. Cash flow in a football club is a nightmare. It is a complete nightmare, because we don't know how many supporters are going to turn up. We don't know how many away fans might turn up at the game. You try and predict it as best as you can, but it's very difficult. You've also got football clubs that owe us money as well. So we've had players that have gone out on loan, and we don't really want to put them football clubs into an embargo situation. It's very rare that we do, and we give the football club every opportunity to pay us. But sometimes football clubs, again, haven't got the cash flow to pay us, so we're waiting for money to come in from them. So we've gone with certain businesses, and I think the biggest one that we had as a CCJ, and I speak openly and honestly about it, was the company that did the pitch.
Yeah.
and that was the biggest CCJ that we had. And we felt last season that the pitch wasn't up to the standard that we'd asked it to be. We had an agreement in place that they would try and rectify the pitch and put things right. They came back to do some of that work, but they wanted payment, and we disagreed that it wasn't right for us to make that payment, because until the pitch was tested and made right, because obviously August, September, October,
stage, don't they?
The pitch looks fantastic. It's when it comes to December, January and February, that's when the pitch gets its test. And it's kind of failed again this year. For the money that's been spent on it, it's failed again this year, because there's two areas that, as everybody can see when they come to the games, that they're not the best of areas, and that's something that we've paid a lot of money out for. So the company that did it decided to take us to court for payment, and you know from a lot of fans they were all saying don't pay them until it's get right.
Oh yeah, this is what I'm saying. I don't think there's any other business or industry when there's so many bosses having an opinion. And obviously, as a football club, and certainly as a chairman, you can't always say what you want to say because of media and how things can, get misinterpreted and one thing and another. But the bottom line fact is the fact that Bury is Bury, and like you said, on the low attendances and one thing and another, it will always short term require your support.
Yep.
So therefore, it must be upsetting, personally, to have some of these negative jibes that basically, when what you're trying to do is turn a business around, and like you said, it's been a learning curve. We haven't always got everything right, but we're definitely here for the long term. So is there anything that you want to say on that point of view to the fans that continually have a swipe at the finances?
It is difficult. It is difficult, and I have to go back on to 3 years ago when we were sat down looking to buy the football club, and I remember Neville saying to us that there was nobody else looking to buy this football club. And let me tell you, in the 3 years that I've been involved in the football club, I've not had one offer come to me to buy the football club from me.
If you remember, there was one offer.
Sorry, yes, from
a builder.
Yeah.
That basically guaranteed 2 years at the stadium.
Yeah.
And he was offering a lot less than the debts, and he would certainly want to build on it. And that's the initial response was, because you're a property developer, everybody thought you were going to
do the same
thing.
Yeah, well, Neville rejected that other company. He just thought they were going to be pie in the sky, and I think there was pie in the sky from what Neville was saying at the time, and it was really difficult because the way that the club was we knew there was going to be a lot of hard work and money put into the club to try and turn this around, and from where the business was just short of 3 years to where it is today, we were languishing at the bottom of League 2. To then come into where we are now in League 1, like say, go on that cup run, is a huge transformation. But the club itself has got more respect. It's a lot more professionally run, and we've learned lessons in that time period. But like I said, I personally have not had anybody come and approach me to say, I'd like to buy the football club from you, or I'd like to invest some money into the football club. It hasn't happened. In the 3 years that we've been doing this, I've not had one person come and approach me. But on Saturday, we played Shrewsbury Town at home, who brought 500 away fans, and we had a good. Our home support was great as always. They got behind the lads, and but I looked at the newspapers on Sunday, and read through the attendances of the Football League, and we were the third lowest in the whole of the Football League.
Out of all the 72.
Out of all 72. So obviously we were the third lowest. There was only Dagenham and Crawley Town who had lower home attendance than us. So when I look at that, and I'm looking at it thinking, we're trying to plan here, we're trying to move forward, and we're trying to run a business, with the way that the financial fair play is, and with salary cost management coming into place, it's designed, as I see it, that your bigger clubs, the way that the wage structures are run, it's designed on the back of your turnover of the business. So if your turnover of the business is £1 million, you can spend X amount of a percentage on players' wages, and we fit that every year. We pass it every year. We submit all the forms off to the Football League, and we we do exactly what we're asked to do. The difficulty is that our turnover's relatively low, which then in turn makes our players' budget relatively low for a League One side.
Well, you say that, but if you read the negative side of the fan base, then we're paying players fortunes and we're paying much higher wages than the fans really understand. But because it's a public domain, you can't tell fans what you're paying wages and everything. But like you said, there are clubs out there with much, much bigger wage budgets than we've got. So therefore, really, we're actually outperforming
Correct.
our level.
Well, the difficulty is, I mean, the gaffer came and approached me and he said, he's heard rumours that people are on £5,000, £6,000 a week from players that aren't playing, and players that are on that type of money. It's ludicrous. Ludicrous. There is nobody at this football club on £5,000-6,000 a week. Absolutely nobody. We can't afford to do that. We can't afford as a business to do that. The difficulty is, though, as I go back onto that financial fair play and salary cost management, I don't believe, and this is not just at Bury, but I don't believe in football fans understand that model, because the model is that you turn over your business, you can offer a wage budget there. So for somebody that's got a turnover of 10 to 15 million, which there is clubs in League One that have that, they're able to attract players on a lot higher players' budgets than what we can do. So it all gets submitted to the Football League, and they can look at that and go, well, we can offer players £6,000, £7,000, £8,000, £9,000 a week, and there is players in League One that are on that type of money.
I think some on double figures, aren't they? Some of the clubs.
Some of the clubs they are, and so from our position, when we're getting a home attendance against Shrewsbury of 3,200, and that includes your season ticket money as well, it's very, very difficult for us to try and go and compete into the top 6 of this league, because we don't have third-party revenue coming into the business at this moment in time. We don't have the facilities to be able to do that. We're trying to work on that. That is a lot of work that we are putting into doing that, but it takes time. It takes time to develop that. You will always get certain clubs that'll have an exception in a season where they'll go on it. And currently, and they probably won't mind me saying this, but Accrington are doing that in League 2 now, and good luck to them. I think they're 5th in League 2, and Accrington are above Portsmouth. So financially, you've got two ends of the spectrum there, which are completely two different ends of the spectrum. Because when we sat down in the summer and we interview 3 to 4 players, we interview every players, but 3 or 4 of these players, they actually didn't sign for us and ended up signing for a League 2 football clubs because they were getting paid more money. So League 2 football clubs can offer more money than what we can do. So it's very, very difficult when we talk about the finances and what people are saying and this myth that we're spending this amount of money on players' wages and we're doing this and we automatically should be there. To get out of League 2, really on the attendances that we have, we should be a League 2 side. And I suppose us and Rochdale are very similar to that with the attendances. So you could say both clubs are outperforming where they should be. Because you've got now teams like Plymouth, Oxford, Northampton. I think Plymouth got 9,000 at home on Saturday.
If you look at
Portsmouth get 15,000, 16,000 at home. We are in and that's how the Football League have dictated it, is they have to do it on your turnover of your business. So it is very, very difficult for any football club to offer more than what because you have to provide the information. So the turnover of this business is nowhere near what a lot of other businesses are in League One, and what a lot of other businesses do in League One. They've got fantastic function rooms, fantastic corporate facilities that they can offer out. We haven't got that. So we've got to look at our business model. We've got to look at how can we generate more income and more turnover. What can we do? So we'll do that through commercial sponsorship. And we're very, very thankful to the partners and sponsors that come on board. They give a lot of support, but we need more. We do need more. We need more from local businesses. That's something we need to address. We need to work on the academy, because we haven't been able to do that. And I think it was 1998, the last time Bury Football Club has sold a player for £1 million. That's nearly 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And we've not been able to develop them players, and we've not sold a lot of players in that 20-year period for over they've all been under £500,000. So we've got to develop that model. We've got to be able to develop it so then we can build again. Because you've got teams, Peterborough in the same league as us. They've just sold Connor Washington for 2.5 million. They sold Asombalonga for 5 million. They sold Dwight Gale for 4 million. They sold Mikhail Smith and George Boyd, who've all gone on, and they've got players that they can then go reinvest that money to make them stronger. We haven't done that, and since we've come in, we started 3 years ago to build that process. Now, I said at a Q&A a year ago that we was Danny Mayer, obviously got Player of the Year for League Two, and I asked everybody in the summer, if we got a bid for Danny Mayer, what would you do? I asked the shareholders, what would you do? Would you sell him or would you keep him? And everybody in the room said, sell him.
Yeah, it's a happy medium, isn't it? 'Cause
yeah.
No matter how you look at it, if you sold, obviously, one of the fans' favourites, then obviously some fans will be totally gutted and disappointed, and other fans will understand it. Do you think that maybe when we first came on board, we had all these ideas and went public with some of them, that now that, like apartments, apart hotels, etc., do you think that because we've now lived it and we've experienced in it, that the picture has changed, so your long-term commitment is here, but the outcome's going to be slightly different? Do you think that you've now, in effect, it's like a marriage, in that living with somebody, you now understand it better?
Yeah, I think so. I think the difficulty is that you're learning all the time, and you never can probably fully understand it until you're actually involved in it, and you're eating, living and breathing it. It takes up a lot of time being involved in a football club, and it takes a lot of management as well, and it is difficult, and there's things and ideas that you come up with that you're trying to implement, and you're trying to get them started, and we've got to, sometimes it's like with any business, your business model and plan, you might evolve it and change it as you're going through that process, and because we're learning it and living it, things will change, and things will look at, we are here for the long term, we want to make the club a success. I believe we are making the club a success as well. To be able to compete in League One, for me, is a success. I came out and I said that we wanted to get into the Championship within 5 years, and probably after reviewing that process, it's not saying that we're not going to try and push and compete and get to that level, but right now, if we got in the Championship for next season, there will be a big ask as a business. That is a big ask. The club's not ready for that yet.
I was just going to say, off the pitch, the club wouldn't cope.
The club,
never mind on the pitch.
And you've seen that when we've played Hull and Bradford City in the FA Cups, and it's been difficult because you're working with the police. That's something that yourself and Jill work a lot with, the police and the safety officers, and they dictate really a lot of it where the fans can go. We don't have the facilities. We don't have the concourse facilities. We are very restricted on what we can do. We don't earn a lot of money currently from the concourse because it's not run by the football club. That's something that we are working on at the moment to try and bring that back in-house to make more revenue. So things like that are very, very difficult, because when you're having 7,000 or 8,000 fans on, which we've had, and we'd love to have that every week, but because the bulk of that's come from a lot of that has come from away support as well, it's been difficult, because how do you house them? Where do you do it? And we may well have an issue if Bolton Wanderers come down next season, because the police are already talking to us about that fixture, and that's something that there's a nervousness from how that is going to be policed, how that's going to be housed, because the way the design of the ground is, we've got one entrance in and out for everybody. It's a funnel situation, and it's a very difficult process for doing that. If we got into the Championship now, and the teams that are in the Championship that potentially could be there next season, the likes of Sunderland or Newcastle that might be coming down at the Premier League.
Got Leeds United travelling support.
Yeah, I think Leeds United played Blackburn Rovers and took 7,000 fans.
Exactly.
7,000 fans they took. Incredible and away support that they will bring, how would we cater for that? How do we cope for that? How can we maximise that? And everybody looked at the whole City fixture in the Cup and said to me, oh, fantastic, you're going to make some money out of the whole game. And the club did make money out of the whole game. But I also looked at how much money we lost that day because we didn't have the facilities. So I'm looking at it and thinking, well, we don't have the concourse available. We don't have the executive boxes. We don't have everything that we were hoping to have. So we lost a lot of money that day as well. So it's really difficult for us because we've got to maximise the best that we can. And the football club has only got certain parameters it can deal with at the moment, because with we believe, you know, the fan base of 3,000 home fans regularly we're really thankful for them fans, but we do need to try and bring in more, and we won't stop trying to bring in more. We'll continue to look at ways. We are looking at that with the Junior Shakers programme. We are looking at that with the ticket pricing for young fans for next season ticket pricing that we're going to come out with. We're going to be really cheap to try and bring them in, and that's something we want to do. But you know, Bradford City did a season ticket campaign this year. I think it was 149 for our season ticket, and they got 15,000 fans that bought the season tickets. So that automatically, on their banking, they've banked over £2 million. So from that basis, we bank about £400,000 on season ticket money. So it's really difficult for us to then to go compete at the levels that everybody expects us to go and compete at, and thinking that we are going to be a top 6 side. We've got to try and do that as best as we can, and we work with the manager to try and do that on a budget. But we've also then got to look at all the other areas that we can bring in that income. And something for me is, if we can keep on progressing in League One and pushing to get into the Championship, I do believe one day that we will get there. I do believe one day we'll get there, and hopefully that will be in the next 2 to 3 years. If that takes us a little bit longer than 5 years, it might be 6, 7 years, so be it. But I've got to do when it's right for the business as well. And as I said at the start, at the moment the business isn't ready for the Championship.
Obviously, you've been asked a lot of questions that we get asked on a regular basis, and you know, I think the answers are straightforward because you said them openly and honestly. But the last question is, how frustrating is it? Is it as frustrating as it was on the first day and stressful, or have you now managed to, in effect, you lived into the job now? What is it as stressful as day one?
Day one was a bit of an unknown, because we came into it and there wasn't going to be a football club. There wasn't going to be a football club if we didn't do it. You know, as I said earlier on, there wasn't a queue of people wanting to take over the business, so it was difficult because we had to come in with the ground, with the ground running really, and come into the business and try and pick up and absorb as much as we could. And now has been a time where we've got to understand the business a lot more, and we really understand the business, and we've been able to recruit a new FD into the business, which we did, who came in January, and I think that'll have a significant impact, where we've got an FD here that is 5 days a week at the business and really understanding every department. There's things that we've tried to do and will continue to try to do and improve. Is it stressful? Yes, at times it is. Is it frustrating? Very much so. Very frustrating at probably 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon when we've not won. That's probably the hardest part for me, and because I want to win every game, and that for me, I've always been like that. And you probably, on the away trips, the people that are in the car with me, I think that I have to apologise to them as well, because I'm not the best after a defeat. But
we normally get home quicker though if it's been a bad performance.
Yeah, we generally do.
Yeah.
But do I enjoy it? Do I still have the passion and the belief in what I do? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I've met some great people. The fans are fantastic. You know, I've met some really good fans. The people that work at the football club are brilliant and they're really committed to it. So I love the football club. It's something where I want us to be as successful as we possibly can. And I love watching us play. When you see the team go out on a Saturday, I still have that butterflies before kick-off. I wish I was out there playing with them, but I have that butterflies before kick-off, and I want us to go and win. And you know, I'll be there on Friday at Blackpool. I'll be there on Gillingham on the Monday, because I plan my days around the football club, and I want to try and make sure I want to support us every time. But that's something that I'll go do. I'll support the team. And hopefully, you know, we can get a good win against Blackpool on Saturday and enjoy that. But we're all trying here to try and get the same goal. We're all trying here to try and get the same win. And this football club can go places and will go places. It might just take a little bit longer than what we thought, but we just need to keep on getting the town, the supporters and the belief in what we're trying to do here, and keep on supporting us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.